Greetings, collective. My name is Buma, and this is Vibrational Guidance Over Truth. This is not a traditional tarot and oracle channel. I am not an astrologer. Each week on this channel, there's a new theme. And the theme for this week is acknowledging and respecting Mesoamerican cultures. And we will be featuring different cultures each week for the month of September. So this is the first cultural theme. I'm super excited. We'll be using the Toltec Oracle and the Mayan Oracle and a myriad of other oracle decks. Do know that this is not a traditional tarot and oracle channel. I am not an astrologer. What I do here is ask you to hold a question in your heart and in your mind. And if you feel so called and is safe to, speak it out loud. And then use your intuition, examine the synchronicities from the colors, images, numbers, and stated guidance on the cards to see if this is your spirit guide's way of offering you confirmation of an answer they have given you or providing you with insights. These messages are always for entertainment purposes only, is what I'm supposed to say. Make sure you take what resonates, leave what does not. I do this to be rooted in love, not performance, prediction, or perfection. Love is what has brought you here, so welcome. Let's go ahead and get started with the final reading for this Mesoamerican theme. Super excited and loving all these decks. First question, and let's start here. That's where I was going to go. What is the inner light around the collective? What is the inner light around the collective? What is the inner light around the collective? Pulling from the Cries of the Soul Oracle, what is the, thank you, inner light around the collective? All right, I did catch you. What is the inner light around the collective? So we have up first, and both of them are in reverse. And I think there's no coincidence that every reading has started off with reversals for this theme. We have here energy sponge, 15 is the number on the card. I align my internal and external balance. So some of you within the collective have a negative energy sponge. Something is not allowing your internal and your external to be balanced. And the spirit guides are coming through with a confirmation. Yes, you are not balanced. Something is soaking up. Something is drawing out of you your life force. And they want you to see very clearly that it's time for you to bring that balance in by making you aware. Then we have the certainties card, number 5. So 15 and 5. Certainties. My thoughts open me up to inner and outer change. So my thoughts open me up to inner and outer change. And I think it's no coincidence here that we have internal and external, and then inner and outer change, and then balance. So some of you within the collective, it's going to probably be a very quick reading unless the spirit guides want otherwise. You know, whatever your question is that you posed to yourself, to the spirit guides, to the realm of the unheard that hears, to the unseen that sees, to the unknown that knows. They are coming through and letting you know something about your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, that unless you speak on them or act on them, it's unbeknown to anyone else. That inner you and the outer you, the side of yourself that you express that people see, they are not balanced. And specifically, they are not balanced because something is like a sponge in your life right now, and it's drawing out your ability to have balance. It could be the entertainment industry. It could be watching the news. It could be podcasts. It could be time doom scrolling. It could be tarot. It can be eating. It could be other bad habits. It could be listening to people gossip, but something in your life they're wanting you to know for certain is like a sponge sucking all out of you, and you need to change that. You need to change that. Let's come now to our past life oracle. So how in the past life did this energy show up? I'm just curious, and I want to be nosy, and I've never been nosy before. But how did this lack of balance with the internal and external show up for someone in the collective in the past life? How did this, thank you, lack of balance show up in a past life for someone? Thank you. How did this show up in a past life for someone or a group within the collective? Specifically as it pertains to certainties, we have 3 messages. So it showed up as an unrequited love, and this is facing the past. So definitely for certain, there was an unrequited love. All right. What there also was, and this is facing the future, so it probably is still going on and went on back then and it's going on now. Trust and faith. For certain, someone has a lack of balance as it pertains to who and what they trust and put faith in. And then also we have here spouse. So for certain, it's dealing with a spouse. Very clear. I don't think we need much of an interpretation. So there's a lack of balance. Someone for certain needs to bring about change with an unrequited love situation. Lack of trust and faith in this love relationship. And for some of you, it is a spouse. Regardless of what the children may think, your church, your family, your spiritual community, your co-workers, friends would think about you have this gut instinct, and I can speak on that, this inner nudge, this inner knowing that you don't have all the evidence and all the proof, but somehow you know that you know that you know. And from using the past life oracle deck, the spirit guides have spoken clearly that for certain, this is something that showed up in a past life, and it is right now also true. So that's for some of you. Again, take what resonates, leave what is not. I'm not telling you to leave someone, but for some of you in the past, it was an unrequited love that you were caught up in a relationship with. And back then, you knew for certain you needed to leave, and maybe you did, or maybe you didn't. And for some of you now, because these are facing the present, moving forward in the future, for certain, there's a lack of trust and faith in a situation as it pertains specifically for some of you with a spouse, or again, maybe with an unrequited love. Let's pull now on our Mayan oracle and see what messages would like to come out. So what with these internal and external balance and internal and external change, would you like to tell the collective? What I specifically want to ask, what is ready to be burned away? Like the sun, what is ready to be burned away? What does the collective, can we get one card for what does the collective need to be ready to burn away? What does the collective need to burn away? And I heard, nope, not for that again. All right, different question. How can the collective find strength in knowing that they need to balance their internal and external? How can they find strength? Do you have a message for encouraging the collective to find strength? No, one card almost came out, but it did not. All right, one more question from the Mayan Oracle, if you would like to speak. I'm just going to ask, what general reading message would you like to give? And I'm not going to put a limit on the number of cards, because when I've done that in the past, you've not spoken spirit guides, and I respect that. But when I don't ask for a specific number, you come through and say what you want to say. So is there any specific message that you would like to relate to the collective concerning what has come out here? Is there a specific message or a set of messages that you would like to relay to the collective to confirm what has come out? And the answer is yes, over a specific area, and it is over these certainties, okay? So let's come here to our Mayan Oracle, and I'm looking up ebb. All right, here we go. Ebb, page 83. Common Mayan usage: broom, grass. Qualities: abundance, harvest, gratitude, chalice, emptiness, open vessel, quickening, electromagnetic tuning. Symbols is the chalice. The number is 12, meaning complex stability. The color is bronze wheat. The herbs is shepherd's purse, sephil, and ginger. The flower is the bird of paradise. The scent is apple blossom. Stones to hold when receiving this card is rutilated quartz, quartz touched with golden calcite, and imperial topaz. The element is fire. The direction to face with these elements is south. Shadow wisdom: issues of fulfillment, abundance, insufficiency, lack, issues of the mind, overhauling or devaluing the intellect. Shadow transformation: become self-nurturing by doing what brings you joy and fulfillment. Be willing to not know, to be empty so that you can be filled by expanded consciousness. Befriend your mind. Use your body as a receptor for higher frequencies. The harmonic wisdom here is resonance. The mudra is to hold out your arms outstretched above your head, and then your hands come together to form a V at the top of your head, open to the heavens. The meditation: I am the cosmic cornucopia, ever singing through you the gifts of the spiraling galaxies. And the affirmation is: I am an open chalice. I am the joyful expression of the abundance of the universe. So this is so clear for some of you in the collective. You have got to see that it is time for certain for you to love yourself. And the cosmos, your spirit guides, your spiritual team, whatever you want to call them, the demons, the angels, the ancestors, whatever you think is on your side that's got your back, they want you to know that your internal and your external have not been balanced because of past life work you have not fully come to accept, which is accepting and loving yourself. And you've got to build a strong foundation. A 12 prong is what I'm hearing, foundation, as if we were to put 3 pyramids together with 4 sides and 4 sides and 4 sides, and that 4 and that 4 and that 4 coming up and making 8. There's truth. And looking at the confirmations, I'm hearing the 4 confirmations over and over again that have come in different seasons in your life, that you know what to not trust. You know what you should not have faith in. And yes, some of it is coming because you feel that you should be spiritually spiraling tied to a spouse or unrequited love. But with certainty, that is not true. It is a past life lesson to let go of. Let's close out now with I'm seeing actually the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. What are the next steps for the divine soul that has come to this reading? What are the next steps for the divine soul that has come to this reading? What are the next steps? Thank you so much. What are the next steps? And I caught that. What are the next steps for the soul and the vessel that have come to this reading? Thank you. I heard don't pull that again. Okay. So we have here under our energy sponge, detachment. So some of you need to detach from whatever this thing is when you identify it that was given to you in the past. So it's facing the past, whatever this energy sponge is. And I think it actually landed somewhere right here. So the energy sponge might be a spouse, someone who is very needy. And I can speak on this more personally in a second if the narrative I'm going to give is helpful. And those of you who want to tap out after I reveal the cards, then you definitely can. And that is the number 11 card. Then we have here in the upright, the power. We have dominion, number 9. We have criticism. And we have discrimination. and we have empathy. And I think it's no coincidence that we went here from power to domination, 8 and 9, criticism and discrimination, 6 and 6, and then empathy, which is 12. So something is adding up with this reading. Some of you have the power to trust your gut instincts. For certain, there is something that you ignored in a past life. But for certain, you are being told to trust your gut. You do not have to have, like this said, you don't have to have the scene confirmation to know that you know without a doubt that something is going on. Trust that power within you. I like to say this a lot with the groups of people that I work with. Our ancestors have only made it to this point for us to be here at this point in our lifetime because they've trusted their gut instinct. When something said go, they went. When something said stay, they stayed. And by them trusting this gut instinct where you don't need to have outside validation from a book, from a TV screen, from an other to know that to act and to move on, making your life be in a better place, it needs external validation. That is not the case here. You need to get back to the place of trusting your intuition. And so some of you, like it says here, have trust and faith that you have the power to make the right decisions without the evidence. And what it is that you have the power to do is free yourself from this domination. And right here with domination, we have some key religious symbols. So some aspect of maybe being a part of a religious faith-based community is dominating your life, being encouraged to pay tithes, being encouraged to donate or give offerings. That sense of domination and expectation of you to trust this community and to give over the power that you have, which the majority of us, the power that we wield is money. That's something that with certainty, you're in a season in your life where you're supposed to question that. For those of you who resonate that this is about a spiritual community. But for those of you who resonate with this being about a spouse or a unrequited love that you're needing to look back that you have established in the past and detach from, there is clear criticism about this relationship that when you're honest with yourself, for certain, something about this relationship is sucking the life out of you. And there's a lot of criticism that you receive. That's confirmation number one. Not only is there a lot of finger pointing at you and what you're not doing, but there's some type of discrimination. Aspects of, I'm hearing your family, your friends, and them isolating you from having an other or an outlet other than them discriminating against the things that bring beauty to your life, like these butterflies here. And even your pets being able to enjoy life and anything outside life in that house with them or the environment with them, they're discriminating against it and trying to separate you from that. And for certain, you're being told to look inward and confirm through outer signals. You don't have to speak on it necessarily, but know that this is real, it's happening. And when it all adds up and you have all the confirmations you need, not necessarily that you need to speak on them to this individual if it is, or to this religious community if that's what it is, have empathy. Have empathy for the fact that they know not what they do, is a phrase that some of you might resonate with, but more so, not that they are not aware of what they're doing, because I personally think they do know and they should take accountability. But whether this spouse or unrequited love or religious community does not, and 9 times out of 10 they won't, especially if they're delving into narcissistic tendencies or habits or traits. But have empathy for knowing that they were raised, they were coached, they were brought up in environments that encouraged and fostered this mindset that they have harnessed, that they have held on to, that is now their crutch, that is now their way of being. And so you can look back with empathy and still move away so that you can assure yourself and your divine guides and the bloodline that has allowed you to be here, that you are here to bring about that inner and outer balance, that inner and outer change. That is what you are here this lifetime to meditate on. And so I think that personal narrative that I was going to give it can just stay the same in terms of I myself, like many of us within, that are in the collective, was in a relationship. And in that relationship, there was a lot of power dominance. This person used to say a lot to justify their lack of actions or contributions in the home. It's my lion's share, that masculine phrase of I as the lion, have you as my lioness, like other lioness. You go out and do the hunting, the cooking, you do the cleaning, you do the, getting the oil changed, the tire rotated, you do the, taking care of my children. You do that because I sit in the power seat. I'm in dominion over you, and you just need to have trust and have faith that what I'm here for is, if ever danger arises, trust and have faith that I'll do my part, but you do everything else, because I need to be sitting back on the couch, feet up, watching my news, watching my sports, playing my video games, and enjoying the power seat and domination over you that is given to me by being your spouse. And in that relationship, I did not share a lot. I did not speak to family. I was completely isolated from family and from friends and even from coworkers. And it was just very cut off, that it wasn't until I was really looking for help and somehow looked for help on YouTube, just typed in, help with blah, blah, blah in a relationship. And tarot, for the first time ever in my life, came up. And the criticisms that it provided for the type of masculine that it was describing fit perfectly with my situation. And the ways that he would discriminate towards me and towards choices I wanted to make in my life so fit with what I had picked up in those tarot readings. And it caused me to realize that I needed to have empathy for him and leave in the most peaceful way possible. But for certain, I needed peace with my inner and outer self. I needed change. And this was a past life unrequited love that in this lifetime, as my spouse, I needed to leave him. And I did. I left my spouse. I detached from him. And I am now in this new cornucopia season where I'm rebuilding myself. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity to have left a relationship that was for 9+ years and be ready to move on. So some of you might have needed to have heard that. I hope that these Mayan and Toltec oracle readings have been helpful. Let's just get one more from the Mystic Manifesting Oracle deck. Are there any final messages? Any final messages for the collective? Thank you for those of you who have stayed so far. If you would like to like or subscribe or share, please do so. So we have here over empathy in the reverse. Sweet harmony. So there won't be sweet harmony for some of you, though you can give empathy. This person might not give that empathy back. And these colors on these cards align a lot. It says, let go and allow abundance to flow into your life effortlessly. I release expectations. So some of you, it's going to be hard to let go of the expectation. What does my life look like? What is life 2.0 post this relationship, post accepting this look like? I don't have the answers for you. And it's not meant for me to have the answers. I'm meant to be a communicator of the truth, that your spirit guides, again, come the beginning of this reading. And I said, hold a message in your heart and your mind. For those of you who are getting the answer here, it might not be sweet, harmonious separating, but what you can do is harness and hold the energy of empathy as you move away. What we do have here is cross of faith. Balance effort with trust and intention with surrender. I make my dreams real. And I think that's so fitting to come under the card of balance that was in the reverse. So some of you, it's time for you to cross that bridge with, again, faith. So we have balance on this card, and we have faith here. Cross that bridge this new season of your life with faith, and know that your effort that you're putting in with just trusting, again, we have balance and trust, and we have trust here as well. So 3 synchronicities with faith twice, and trust twice and balance twice. You are making your dreams a reality. As long as you have faith that your divine guides have spoken through on this message, it is real, it is the truth. Have faith and then cross that bridge. And then finally, we have here also in the upright, aspire higher, think expansively, and the cosmos conspires to grant you your wishes. I create my own destiny. And what a beautiful message to close out with. So, yes, it is scary. It definitely was scary for me. There's definitely more to everyone's life story and where I was financially at that time and spiritually and physically at that time. But just know that all it takes is for you to hold that puzzle piece, hold that idea, conspire with the cosmos. I need to leave. I need a way out. And your wishes will be granted. I'll say this one last thing, maybe, and close out this message. When it was coming to that time where I had been exposed to tarot, and what I would do is when I got off work, I would come home, make sure I cleaned up, did everything I was supposed to do, prep, start dinner, get it all ready. And then I would get in the car and I would go to the park and I would just walk, something I hadn't done in ages. I would just walk for hours. And while I was walking, I was listening to tarot because it was fascinating. It was new, it was interesting to me. And it was crazy how truly all the messages that were brought to me aligned. And each of them would have synchronicities that I was like, wow, that piece of this message does fit for me. And I got to the end of a period of listening to tarot where I paused, I stopped, and I began praying. And what I prayed was, hey, if this is real, if I'm meant to end this relationship, I said, God, I don't have the strength to say I want a divorce to him. But if it's really meant to be, by some miracle way of a chance, let it come from his lips. And I'll know really that you were real, because I was in a crisis of faith then. I'm not a Christian anymore. But for that time, I said, like, if you're really real, if this is really meant to be, and if it's in alignment with my life being in alignment with the highest, best, good, will, and way for me, then because I'm acknowledging that I don't have the strength to say, or the courage to say, I want a divorce, then let it come from his lips. And lo and behold, not too long after going to the park every day and praying that prayer, it was him who picked a fight one evening. And at the conclusion of picking the fight, which was normal that he had been doing, he stated he wanted a divorce. And though he had said this before in the relationship, a many myriad of times, I would always cry and break down and say, no, don't leave, such and such. This time, I simply carried through the conversation in a very calm but comfortable and calm tone. And I just simply was asking questions. Well, what do you want me to do if you want a divorce? And then interestingly, his next response was, you need to do the research on that and figure out how to draw up papers. And I said, okay, is there anything else I need to be aware of as far as what your wishes are? He was like, nope, that's about it. That's all I want you to know is I want a divorce and you need to figure out how to drop the papers. And I said, yes. And that's how I was able to wash my hands from that situation. It literally came as a result of me being energetically honest with what I needed, which was confirmation of the end of this relationship coming specifically from his lips, if that was what was meant to be. So maybe that message is being shared out there for some of you, that you're in a toxic relationship. And we all have a manifestation window. I've spoken about this in previous videos on this channel. It's for you to stay with the intention, the affirmation, the prayer for a period of time, believing that one piece that you put out there is going to balance itself out in the cosmos. And with your faith, with your trust, with your intention and your surrender to needing a set outcome, it will be delivered to you. That dream will be delivered. Will it potentially be uncomfortable? For certain, yes. Will you feel powerless at times? Yes. Will that person still seek dominion from you, especially if you're sharing a household? And I definitely grappled and dealt with that after the math too. Yes. But do know that everything that's going to come up in the aftermath, the criticism, the discrimination, it's only aiming to make your heart empathetic so that you can have the sweet harmony moving forward with who you truly are. and are meant to be in the new level, life 2.0, as I call it, from leaving this season. All right, collective, I love you very much. I hope this message was helpful, and do have a great rest of your sun cycle.